Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the day that the Lord has made. We are rejoicing and we are glad in it. Welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. For those of you that are coming on, joining me live, please do me a quick favor. Put in the comments, let us know where you're watching the Ramon Preston Show from. We would love to hear from you. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who continue to support the Ramon Preston Show, all of you that continue to give us feedback. You share your results and your wins and your takeaways with us. We really appreciate that. So again, if you would be so kind, just put in the comments, let me know what city, what state, what country, I don't know, what planet you're watching the Ramon Preston Show from. For those of you that are watching for the first time, thank you for joining the Ramon Preston Show today. My name is Ramon Preston, every Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time, right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Me and my squad, my staff, we show up live to share information with you. One of my missions and assignments as an educator, as a teacher, as a trainer, as a preacherpreneur is to get information out to our community about business ownership, about properly structuring businesses, on integrating systems, and really on engineering successful 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-figure organizational enterprises. That's a big deal for me. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about sharing a lot of business and real estate investing information with my community is because I think we all need to build our own legacies, and we all need to be informed on the endless possibilities that we have available to us through mediums like social media. I mean, think about it. You get to join me live today, and you get to learn about concepts and principles that could change the trajectory of your legacy if you receive the information and if you implement it at the highest level. So today, I really wanted to take some time to just answer some of the common questions that I get on a day-to-day basis regarding holding companies. So if you are an individual who's looking to get into business, or if you're already in business, but you're starting to learn more about concepts like the holding company and you have questions regarding it, guess what? You can ask the question now. Just put the question in the comment. If you're watching from IG, I won't be able to see the question. And hopefully, if you're watching from YouTube, Facebook, X, or LinkedIn, if you put the question in the comment, hopefully I should be able to see it. But if for some reason I do not see the comment or the question, put it in there. We'll circle back around during another live show, or maybe I'll just send you a message giving you the answer to the question. And again, one of the most important concepts that I teach about as a business and real estate consultant is the holding company concept. Because whether you're a real estate investor, whether you are an entrepreneur with a side hustle, or whether you want to build a massive organization, the holding company concept works for any type of business and any level of business ownership you're on. So whether you are a solopreneur, whether you have a small business with a handful of staff members, or whether you are a much larger business, when you set up and structure your business enterprise using a concept like the holding company, you automatically put yourself in a position of leverage. And I'm not the best artist, but I like to use this diagram that I talk about just to show you a visual. Of course, if we were in one of our workshops, I have workbooks with a lot of visual diagrams and pictures to explain it better that are more interactive. But this is, in my estimation, the perfect picture or the perfect scenario for a business owner. Again, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're a W-2 employee, a 1099 contractor just looking to, solidify and to professionalize your side hustle with a business, I would still encourage you to use the holding company concept. If you have an existing business and you're already selling products and providing the service, you can still use this concept by setting up a new holding company, okay? So this is your holding company, and whatever business you have, whether it is a business for products that you want to sell, whether it's a business for services you want to provide, and I'll structure another business here and I'll put I for investments, whether it's real estate investing, whether it's investing in other businesses, whether it's becoming a lender for other businesses, whatever the investments are. It might be crypto, it may be stocks and bonds that you want to get into, paper investments, whatever the things are. Having this type of structure, number one, again, it shows you how you can leverage your time better, how you can leverage your business activities better. And even yesterday, I talked about a lot of different benefits of a holding company. I'm not getting into the benefits because I really want to answer a couple questions. I just wanted to at least take a few minutes at the beginning of today's show to make sure that you understand the power of this concept. Because when I think about the holding company, I'm not just thinking about a legal entity as in a LLC. I'm thinking about a concept that backs up and supports this entity structure. So for example, I could draw a line right here in the sand and I can say, okay, we got LLC number 1 right here. Let's say this is number 2. Let's say this is LLC number 3, and this is LLC number 4. So if I just had to differentiate the power of this concept and structure against another concept and structure, I'm going to show you how big of a difference it is. Because here, this is you. This could be you right here. And you own one LLC. And your one LLC owns number 2, number 3, and number 4. So it's a clean structure. It leverages and maximizes your time. It properly positions you. It gives you so many other infrastructure, asset, revenue, tax benefits that I don't even have enough room on this board to talk about. We talked about that yesterday. Well, you could take these same 4 LLCs. Let's say if you didn't do this and you said, you know what, I have an LLC that I'm going to start to sell a product. All right. So that means you're going to start the LLC here and it's going to be the LLC that you sell a product. Right. That's you. Then you come up with another idea, but it's not related to the business you already started. And then what you're going to typically do, you're going to start another LLC, and this is going to be your other one for the service you want to provide. So if you notice, the biggest difference is they're not under the umbrella, they're all under you. Then you want to get into investing, and you realize that, you know what, I don't want to invest with my product company. I don't want to invest with my service company. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to start another company just to invest. And so this structure, although many entrepreneurs use it, although it can work, and it does work for a lot of people, but it does not give you as much leverage as this structure does. Number one, these are all separate entities, like they are here. But the only difference is you stand at the top of all these. So that means whatever the just from a financial perspective, whatever the net profits are for each of these entities, you're going to be hit with those net profits, the tax liability. And it's different than here, where whatever the net profits are, just from a financial perspective, you're not going to be hit with them because the net profits are going to go here. And once they get here, you can make a decision to reallocate them. There could be some non-taxable events that you participate in, as well as here. But let's say, for example, if this company made a lot and these two didn't, well, you're not going to, unless you have some type of business relationship, you're not going to mix and mingle these three companies' revenues, unless it's some type of contractual agreement or business relationship, where here the holding company can actually take that money, and if there's another business activity that they want to invest in with the revenue that they got freed up from this one, it's easier to do it. So there are a lot of financial, tax, operational, logistical advantages of having this type of structure than it is to have this type of structure. So again, it is 12:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I just wanted to take the first maybe 10, 15 minutes or so to reestablish why I'm such a big proponent of the holding company concept. I'm such a big proponent because a lot of you entrepreneurs, you already know, outside of the tax benefits, outside of the reallocation of pre-tax revenue, outside of the consolidation benefits and the centralization benefits, outside of all these advantages and benefits that you have using a holding company, one big point that I need to make is your mind is clear of a lot of clutter. Because I'm telling you, I just mentioned yesterday on the show that an entrepreneur just sent me an email Monday night. And the email, inside the email, they were talking about 4 or 5 different LLCs that they own. Think about that. So I was given a presentation Monday night, or Tuesday night rather. I was given a presentation on holding companies and how to structure them and everything, right? And I got a response from an entrepreneur, and they have about 4 or 5. I could be off maybe 1, but let's just exaggerate it and say they do have 5, and it's not 4. Well, that means they were telling me that they have 4 different LLCs that they own personally. So they own this LLC, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Now, outside of the disadvantage of the tax benefits, of the consolidation of taxes, of the centralization of systems and processes, outside of the benefits of being able to reallocate pre-tax dollars and all the other stuff that we could talk about, outside of that, imagine how much clutter is in this person's mind when mentally they're trying to be the owner and operator of 5 different entities in their mind. Where if that was me, I'm going to be over here and I'm going to set up my one holding company, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to let my one holding company own, manage, and control the other 4. It's cleaner and it's less clutter up here. This is one of the biggest points I should be making today for people who are entrepreneurial, because you have so many ideas. And so this person, they have these companies already in existence, and they were telling me that they have the idea of a couple more. And now they're at a point to where they're trying to figure out what should they do. Well, you definitely don't want to start another LLC that you're going to stand on top of. What they're going to end up having to do is they're going to have to set up their holding company, and then they're going to have to take all of these other companies here, and they're going to have to bring all them under this one entity to clean all that up, and then to start the centralization of systems and processes and the reallocation of funds, and it just makes things so much easier. So if you agree with me on how simple this concept and structure is, as opposed to this traditional way for entrepreneurs to do it, I want you to give me some feedback in the comments, okay? So that's one of the common questions that I do get about holding companies. What is the best way to transfer assets within a holding company? Which, by the way, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm an entrepreneur who works with attorneys and CPAs, and I learn as much as I can learn. I practice what I preach, and then when I learn it and I practice it, I come back and preach it to tell you how certain things work. It may not work the same for you. There may be different tax liabilities that you have that I don't have. There may be certain legalities that you're dealing with that I'm not dealing with because of the industry that you're in. So it's important for you to talk to people who are certified and who know the legal ramifications of your decision and the financial or tax ramifications of your decision. I can say what I want to say as an entrepreneur, just talking out the side of my mouth all day. But if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. So just take the concepts of what I'm saying, take the information and make sure that you vet it on your end with people who are certified, who are licensed, and who understand the things that many of us, most of us as entrepreneurs don't understand. Like, I talk to my lawyers and CPAs and tax strategists enough to understand what they're doing and enough to make sure that when I am making a decision, I know how far to go before I call them and say, okay, I'm thinking about A, B, C, and D. I was just on a conference call with one of my attorneys yesterday because I'm looking at an acquisition, and I'm like, I need to get some clarity on, okay, what steps do I need to take? How does that play out? How does it look from a legal perspective? I'm still the one that got to do the deal. It still has to make sense to me. I still have to be the one to run it and operate it and manage it and run the day-to-day responsibilities of it. However, the legal and the tax or financial impact that is going to have on me, I have to make sure I vet that. So that's just my little disclaimer to let you know if you're watching and listening. So, but what is the best way to transfer your assets within a holding company, including existing businesses? Again, I would first and foremost say, if you have an existing LLC or multiple existing LLCs that you already own, they're already in operation. These are LLCs that are selling products, that are providing services, and now you have this idea to set up a holding company. Well, first of all, can't nobody stop you from setting up a new LLC. And you can set up a new LLC as a holding company. Can't nobody stop you. Now, what I would say is you want to make sure that you run this transfer of assets of these two businesses or three businesses or however many active operating companies you have. You want to run that by an attorney, someone who's qualified to let you know, because remember, when you set these two LLCs or corporations up, you set it up with the Secretary of State. You also got an EIN with the IRS. So let's say if you just got your operating agreement and you transferred the ownership inside of the operating agreement from you to the new holding company. Well, even though your operating agreement reflects this new ownership, but you don't know how that plays out in other things. And I'm not an attorney, so I don't know some of those things. I've never had to dig that deep into entities and the restructuring of entities like that, because I always try to do it right the first time, okay? So I would say either way, once you do get that clarity from an attorney, there should be no problem with you transferring the ownership interest from you being the owner of those entities, however many they are, and now the owner is the new holding company that you set up. And let's say you have other assets, okay? You may have some real estate assets. Now, of course, if it's a real estate asset, you're either, depending on how you play the real estate game, what your goal is, that needs to be determined by talking to an attorney as well, because you may have a different plan, okay? So there may be an estate planning strategy that you're working on. So I've seen some people who have had real estate in their own personal name. They've taken that real estate, they put it in a LLC, or they take that real estate and they put it in a land trust, and they transfer the ownership of that LLC to their holding company, or they make their holding company the beneficiary of their land trust. So however it is that you want to play that game with real estate, that's another angle, but it may be vehicles, it may be a retirement account that you have. Whatever the assets are, these are assets that I would encourage everyone, if you personally own them, to transfer under your holding company, whether you're transferring them inside of another LLC or inside of a land trust or whatever. It's still important to make that transfer, because all that does is give your holding company more purchasing power. It gives your holding company more leverage, and it gives you the ability, again, as I talked about yesterday on the benefits, it gives you the ability to centralize all your business activities, if that makes sense. So transferring assets under a holding company is not complicated, okay? There are asset transfer agreements that you can use. There could be purchase and sales agreements that you're using depending on what the assets are. But it could be the drafting of a new operating agreement. But we know it can happen. It does happen on a day-to-day basis. Another common question I get about holding companies is, what is the best way to be paid within a holding company? Well, if your holding company is a LLC, you're going to receive owner draws unless your holding company has been treated like a S corp or something. If your tax person has changed the tax designation of it, then you're probably going to be getting a salary. But outside of the owner draws or the S corp designation and you're getting a salary, how is your holding company going to be compensated? How's your holding company going to be paid? Well, your holding company gets paid in different ways. Number one, your holding company is going to own assets that should be making money. So whatever the money is that the profits are that comes from those other entities or business activities, the holding company is the owner of those of that company and of those assets. So it essentially owns and controls whatever the net profits are, that it can be transferred up to the holding company, and now the holding company has working capital to invest in other things that could make more money, okay? But as far as you as the owner of the holding company, like I own my holding company, you're going to either be paid an owner's draw, or you're going to, or distribution, whatever you call it, or you're going to, or if your LLC has taken a different tax election, which that's something your CPA is going to do, then you're probably going to be getting a salary personally. But it all depends on how your entity is set up. Your holding company can also receive management fees for managing the assets that it owns, okay? Like your holding company can own 2 or 3 LLCs that are making money, and there could be a management fee just to manage the day-to-day or oversee the day-to-day operations of those entities. So there could be management fees. I've used my holding company to get consulting fees, and there are so many different ways to do that. I'm just answering some common questions that I know come through our social media pages, and a lot of our videos we get comments and questions on. Another common question that I get is, what's the best state to register your holding company in? Again, I think that is going to come down to the opinion that you have and what exactly are you building. Depending on who you talk to, somebody's going to say Wyoming, somebody else is going to say Delaware, somebody else is going to say Nevada. Definitely you're going to hear Wyoming and Delaware. because of the favorable laws that govern those entity structures in those states. And I got a question. Just hit the chat. But I would say you need to talk to an attorney about that if you're questioned about what state you want to register your holding company is. I think you should register it in the state that you're doing business in, especially if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like most people I talk to who want to register their holding company in Wyoming, they're not doing it for charging order protection. Most people don't even know nothing about no charging order protection. Most of the people that I talk with who want to have a holding company in Wyoming are doing it because they want anonymity. That's what almost 90% of the time I talk to somebody and they mention another state like Wyoming or any of those states, they're doing it for anonymity purposes. But the reason why I'm not a proponent of that, because I don't want anonymity, because it's counterproductive to building a brand. I want to build a brand. So Ramon Preston Enterprises is my holding company. So I want people to know Ramon Preston Enterprises. I want people to know Ramon Preston. So if I want to build a brand, and again, this is just my opinion. This is just my argument. You do what you want to do with yours. Maybe you don't want to be known. I want to be known. I want to be as big as I can be. And I don't care about anonymity as much as I care about exposure. So again, if you are, let's say, a real estate investor and you have 50 properties and you don't want none of the tenants to know, and you don't want to be known, you don't want to be a billionaire, you don't want to be a public figure, maybe you don't care about brand or marketing or attention because you're comfortable where you at, and maybe you're more concerned about not being known by tenants. Well, guess what? That might work for you. But for me and a lot of the people that I talk with, because this is one of the questions I ask people that I sit down with. And oh my God, I don't want to crush this word, anonymity. I don't even know how to spell it. I'm going to try. But let's just say, for example, one of the questions I'm going to ask somebody who sits down with me when they say, well, I want my holding company over here, on the other side of the world, because I want anonymity. I ask them, are you looking at building a brand? Like, are you looking at becoming an influencer? Do you want to coach people? Do you want to be known? Do you want attention? Well, no, I don't want none of that. Okay, so what is your plan to build your business? You're going to just have a fictitious name and you're going to build it that way without, like, sometimes it's counterproductive. That's all I'm going to say. Sometimes it's counterproductive to go all that way just because you listening to people like me on the internet and their business model doesn't apply to you and their business model doesn't work for you. So I would say make sure that it fits your business model. Make sure it fits what you know you want to do as a business owner. Because if you get a company as a holding company and it is anonymous and you turn around and want to get attention and want to get known, you just wasted time. You just did all that for nothing. And if you're doing business in your state, you're still going to have registration in your state. So again, I'm not the one to give you all the advice on that. I'm just giving you some answers to some questions that I have. Let's see here. Tariq says, what is a holding company? What is used for, and can I start one as my first business? Tariq, a holding company is a company that you're using primarily to hold assets. So it could be other businesses, it could be real estate, it could be intellectual property like copyrights, trademarks. You can hold inside of your holding company certain investments like stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency. If you just want a parent company to use as a house so that all roads of your business activities and assets could lead to it, That's one of the primary purposes of a holding company. And then your second question is, what is the use for it? And can I start one as my first business? Personally, and it's just my philosophy, I'm not saying I'm right by any means, but if you sit down with me and we're having a first business conversation, you can tell me, Ramon, I want to start a shoe shining business. Like literally, if you told me I want to shine shoes, bruh, that's all I want to do, dog. I just want to shine shoes. And I want to set up my shoe shining LLC. If you sit down with me because of my beliefs, because of my philosophy, because of how I view business structures and the concepts that support these structures, if you told me you want to shine shoes and you want a shoe shining LLC, here's what I would tell you. We can start a shoe shining LLC, but instead of you standing on top of the shoe shining LLC, how about we set you up a holding company LLC, and then your holding company LLC will own your shoe shining LLC. For many different reasons, I would say that. One reason is because you probably don't want to shine shoes forever. And then when you get tired of it or bored because it ain't working or because you just burnt out and you ready to move on, now you got to scrap your only business. Where if you have a holding company and this goes a different direction, you just plan another one under it. Another reason is I want you to not just make money off shining shoes, but I want you to monetize being a subject matter expert. You're a subject matter expert. So I would want you to have some consulting services. You might be able to coach people. You might have some educational component. All of these can be inside of your holding company because these are all intellectual assets. So you can monetize your mind while you monetize your hand. So it's a lot of different reasons why I would say holding company needs to be the first company. That's just my opinion. And hey, we live and I'm giving it to you. All right. So I would say, yes, your holding company should be the first one. It should be. And there's a lot of other things that go into it. I'm just giving you my quick my quick synopsis of it. Magic says, I like New Mexico for anonymity too. Yeah, New Mexico is another one of those states where you get anonymity. SJ said, soon planning to start a publishing company in Wyoming to begin with, and after making some money, planning to start a Delaware holding co. Is it wise, or do you have any other option? Like I said, man, I just got to be honest with you. It's just really your preference. I mean, I wouldn't do it that way, but you know, it's a preference. It's just a preference. You know, like at some point, like let's say, for example, when I put a syndication together or some crowd fund together for acquiring real estate and businesses that might be bigger than what I'm used to. It could be like a 20, 30, 40, $50 million syndication or crowd fund. Maybe my attorney says, hey, we want to run this particular entity through Delaware. Maybe they say that. But for me, you know, I have had no problems, and I know dozens and dozens and dozens, I mean dozens and dozens of successful business owners who have their holding companies set up in the state that they live in, and they have most of their main subsidiaries in that state, and they're fine. Again, but most of these people, they don't want anonymity. They want to be known. They want to become public figures because they understand marketing. They understand branding. They understand the power of getting attention and becoming known, which, by the way, most of the people that I'm talking about are either in real estate or they're in businesses that require them to get attention. Because if you're going to be crowdfunding, if you're going to be putting syndications together, if you're going to be pooling resources with people, if you're going to have thousands of people following you and supporting you, they need to know you. They need to like you and they need to trust you. They don't need to think that you're hiding something. So again, those strategies work perfect for certain business models that certain business people have. You have to make sure it works for your business model. My business model is more about branding, marketing, sales. attention, relationships, people knowing me like they know Campbell Soup, people knowing me like they know JP Morgan, people knowing me like they know Warren Buffett. I don't want anonymity. I want to be known. I want to be thought about. I want to have attention. Some people don't want that. There are a lot of major companies that you don't even know exist. I'm talking about trillion-dollar companies and you don't know. You might know about Microsoft, about Amazon, or you might know about NVIDIA now. But there are other companies that are just massive that we know nothing about. Maybe that works for them. So again, now you need to start factoring in other things. This is why I talk to people in my community, because when you start looking at, okay, who are you? Like when I first started my business, you know, I'm a black man, I'm a preacher, I got a small community. And I'm trying to gain momentum and get attention. Some of those other things did not matter to me. Okay, so it's just my opinion. Tariq said, thank you. I give thanks for your insights and I look forward to working with you in the near future. Can I build my brand in a subsidiary within my holding company? Yeah, you can definitely build your brand. I mean, I have clients who have holding companies that they don't even talk about. They don't even mention. All they're talking about and mentioning is their subsidiary. So again, it comes down to what business model works for you. I have clients who have holding companies that are not named after them. They have fictitious names. They have subsidiaries with fictitious names because they don't want to be known. They don't want to be seen. They don't want the attention. That's their business model. All I'm saying is you just want to be clear on how that plays out when you structure your business a certain way and when you set it up in certain areas for certain reasons. You just need to make an educated, informed decision. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm saying just be informed when you do it so that when you start running into resistance for different reasons, you're not shocked about the resistance. You understand why you're coming against resistance. And it could be for different reasons. Nobody can find you. You know what I mean? Like nobody knows what you own. It could be whatever the reason is. You just have to be okay with it when you do it. Magic says, I'm confused. When I run promo and post content, I'll get attention regardless of if the owners of my holding company and subsidiaries public information. Yeah. If you run promo and ads and post content, you'll get attention. Yeah, regardless of that. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get attention for what you're promoting, no matter who is the owner of your holding company. So I agree. I'm not saying anonymity is bad. What I'm saying is if anonymity becomes a problem because some type of business you're doing with certain people affects you because they can't find your holding company or something. Like I've seen it. Like I have attorneys who are for holding companies in states like New Mexico and Nevada and Wyoming. And I know attorneys who don't. They're not proponents of it because they think it's a waste of time. So everybody has their own opinion. All I'm saying is you just want to make sure it fits your business model and you're okay with that. So for example, let's say you are promoting a product or service and it gets the attention. And let's say if there's some type of opportunity for a big contract and you go and represent the company that you're promoting or the product, and the people say, in order for us to do a contract, because we're backed by a bigger company, we need to know who the owner is. And you're like, oh, the owner is really not me. The owner is a company in New Mexico or Wyoming. That could cost you the deal. You don't know. And we've seen these things play out in different ways. So I'm not saying any of this will happen, and I'm not knocking people who have done that. All I'm saying is it can be an issue either way when you are known and you don't have that protection. So like one of my attorneys always tells me when he's talking about people who have holding companies in states like New Mexico and Wyoming, here's what he always tells me. As an attorney, I've heard him say this multiple times. As an attorney, if I want to sue you, I'm going to find you. It doesn't matter. You can have an offshore business. He says, as an attorney, if I want to sue you, I'm going to find you and I'm going to sue you. It don't matter how you try to hide. So all I'm saying is just make informed decisions when you're looking at that, okay? So I've answered, 3 questions? I probably have 30 questions I can answer about holding companies, but I'm going to stop right here. And today is Thursday, so we'll come back tomorrow and maybe do a second part 2 for the Q&A. But I appreciate the interaction. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for joining the show. If you have any other questions or if you need information, if you need to learn more about how to start, structure, and run the day-to-day operations of holding companies, we have resources. We have an educational program just on holding companies alone. We have a coaching program. We have a lot of resources available, not just on our YouTube page, but also inside of our Millionaire Blueprint, which is our signature educational and coaching program. All that information, you'll see the links inside of the description. Just click them, browse, take a look at them. You also see our contact information. If there's something personal you need to ask a question on, or if there's some direction you need about structuring or restructuring an entity, don't hesitate to call us, reach out to us. My team and I, we make ourselves available on a day-to-day basis. With that being said, thank you for watching the show today. We love y'all. We appreciate you. We believe in you, and we want you to win and take your business, your enterprise, your dreams to the next level, and we will be honored to have a part in that along the way. So we'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon Eastern, right here on the Ramon Preston Show.